Hey everyone, okay, so today's video is for those of you who want that Kim Kardashian look under the eyes but are a bit older, over 30s, or you have wrinkling or slightly more crepey skin, but you really want that real lightness under the eye. So I'm going to show you what I would do for those of you who are under 30, or those of you who haven't had a load of fillers or injectables or all the other things that can tighten the skin, which is, you know, almost certainly what Kim Kardashian has done. I'm applying moisturizer to begin with. I cannot stress the importance enough of applying enough moisturizer, particularly going underneath the eye. You want this area as smooth and gorgeous as you can. So the layering of moisturizers is very, very important. We're going to apply foundation after this, and then we will get on with the concealer. So just make sure it's all absorbed. If you don't think you've applied enough, apply more. It's better to apply more, trust me. And I always use moisturizers as opposed to primers because I think that powders cling to the skin a little bit more unkindly with primers. So just make sure it's moisturized and sunk in. For foundation, I'm just going to be doing this half as a demonstration. I'm going to be using Ellis Fast Skin Foundation in number 5. I'm applying this to the face with my fingers. I'm going underneath the eye because that will get rid of some of the under eye darkness that you may have. And I love this liquid foundation because it's just dewy, gorgeous skin in a bottle. And I am over matte skin. I learned it and I'm sick of it. So just massage this in as best you can. You can use a brush, you can use your fingers, a beauty blender sponge, whatever you want. Just make sure it's on there. When you're over a certain age, wrinkles and discoloration are all inevitable. So we want to stay away from creams because they're annoying and they can get into wrinkles if if you're a little bit older. So I'll be using 2 products. I'll be using Makeup Forever's Lift Concealer, and I'll be using the Bisque Concealer or Corrector from Bobbi Brown, both in liquid formats. So I'm going to take the Lift first, which is a little bit lighter, and I'm going to apply it with a brush, and I'm going to apply it like this. I want to extend it out, and I apply it with a brush, and then I just take my finger and I pat it. Now this looks quite light. We want a lighter concealer first, and then we want a slightly darker one or a corrective one. Now I'm using my finger to tap because I want this to blend in seamlessly. I'm consistently taking off the excess product on my finger because I don't want it on there unless I have to. Don't be afraid of going up into the nose bone area, because chances are if you're doing this kind of concealer, you will be contouring anyway, so don't worry about it. Now, if it looks a little bit light, you want it to come down around about here and go up and then bleed out into nothing. This is where the kind of corrector shade will come in. Now, I'm going to use medium to dark by Bobbi Brown, and I'm going to use the same product, the same brush, sorry, and I'm going to apply this in a similar kind of fashion, but this just has a slight more kind of bisque undertone because we don't want this. We want this lighter concealer underneath to add brightness, but then we want a slightly darker one. And it is important that you layer the two because you want the translucentness and the brightness of the first and the slightly deeper corrective shade underneath. And you can see from the other side, it lifts that area up really nicely. And it's so important to keep taking off that excess product. Really, really important. Make sure you've brought it down low enough so that it's blending into the foundation, and you brought it up high enough so that it blends in. We don't want to use too much powder, so the first thing we're going to do is set it with a small amount of setting spray. We want a tiny amount, really lightly, and make sure there's no creases in the eye. Just spray it onto that area, allow it to sit for a few moments. We want it to dry, and then we will powder it ever so slightly. We want to take the least amount of powder possible, because if you're a bit older or you have any kind of creasing under the eye, too much powder will not be good. Make sure there's no creases in the eyelid. Take a brush with barely any product on and tap it here. Do not swipe, just very, very lightly press powder into this area. Then take the setting spray again and just lay that over it. This will then set the powder, take away the powdery residue, and leave you with, as best as possible, that real under eye brightness. You want there to be a transition from concealer to foundation that is as seamless as possible. Now we will take a little bit of bronzer, because this look requires, you know, it's a full face of makeup. And we will go and create some contour here on the side of the cheek. This will bring out that concealer more. And then we will take the bronzer from here. This is assuming you've not done your eyes. And blend that up into the temple area. So we've got this halo of light going on here. Then whatever is left on that bronzer brush, and there should be nothing left on it because you have taken it all off, you are going to go back and forward in a circular motion over these areas, and then you're just going to really lightly bring it up with whatever's left, so that there's not a really stark contrast between the bronzer and the highlighter. It should be a kind blend. Put a bit of highlighter on now so you can see it, and a bit of blush. Highlighter, I'm going to use Bar of Gold, which is by Charlotte Tilbury. And we want the highlighter on the highest point, which is here. We don't want too much, just enough so that it catches the light beautifully. We then want a small amount of blush, just enough to add a little bit of more light in this area. I always start on the high point and blend up and back. And there you go, that has it. You don't, I know it would be nice if we could have that look of extreme lightness that she does, but the chances are, unless you are so smooth under the eyes, you're not going to get away with it. You have to have some balance. You can't have it that light, and you can't have it that heavily powdered, because it's too much powder. In real life, it looks so heavy. It may photograph beautifully, and you know, the video I did on it shows the technique 100%, and you can view it in the description bar, but it's not advisable on a daily basis because it's too much powder. It really is. And this is the best way to achieve that really light under eye area, but it's balanced and blended. If you feel like it's not blended enough, just go back over it really softly with your brush that you put that tiny amount of powder on. And then once again, because we're not using a lot of powder, just take a setting spray, spray it over the skin, and be done with it. This is a realistic approach for those people who want that kind of look, but are a little bit older. The skin looks dewy, it looks healthy. You can't see too much bronzer, you can't see too much lightness. You don't really know where the highlighter and blusher begins. Everything is in balance. And there you go. Let me know what your thoughts are. Don't forget to rate, and anything else you might want to do, that would be absolutely lovely. Leave your comments in the comment section below. And there are some videos coming up at the end if you'd like to look at those. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.